Okay, this is where our last video left off. We were in the middle of solving a rational equation and we got this far. Now, I don't want to rush this. I want to take the time here and talk about approaches. Once we have a quadratic equation in standard form, there are a couple ways to solve this equation that I would recommend. The first one would be trying to solve it by factoring. Now, here's the deal. Let's talk math. It depends how good you are at factoring. Some of you that are watching this video are much better at factoring than others. Now obviously I'm the teacher, so I'm good at factoring. So I can look at this problem. Now watch me mess it up after I say this, but I think, let me write this. I have a 3x and a 3x in the front. If I put a positive 25 here and a negative 3 here, I think I'm going to nail this. And here's why. I always teach my intermediate algebra students something called chin and grin. You can see that the front product gives me 3x squared. You can see the back product gives me negative 75. The way I get the middle is by chinning and grinning. Chin is the small part, okay, that's the 25x. Grin is the large part. 25x minus 9x will give me 16x. So by chinning and grinning, this does factor, okay? Now the point I was making, some of you are good at factoring, some of you are a little bit still shaky at factoring. If you're not good at factoring, even though this is ugly, go to the quadratic formula with it, okay? But I've got mine factored, which is really the best approach. If you can get it factored, all right, set each factor equal to 0 and solve. So here we subtract 25. We have 3x is a negative 25, x is negative 25 thirds, or in this case, x is 3. Now, both answers are acceptable, and what I mean by that, if you'll recall the original problem that we started with, the original problem had x squared minus 25 in a denominator. So you know that there were two RVs. X could not equal positive or negative 5. Well, this is certainly not a positive or negative 5, and this is certainly not a positive or negative 5, so we're okay. But always remember, when your original equation starts with variables in a denominator, watch out for those restrictions because you don't want to give them, as answers. So these are the two correct answers. Now, for those of you that wouldn't be good at factoring, let me suggest the quadratic formula, which says, remember, if ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, and a is not 0, the leading term is not 0, then x is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And of course in this problem, a would be 3, b would be 16, and c would be negative 75. But you can see, that's going to get ugly, but at least you have a calculator and you have a formula, you would eventually get down to these two answers. Okay? If you want a quick way to remember this by song, I'd like you to go to YouTube. Just go to youtube.com. And I have a video called Stickman Sings the Quadratic Formula. And I've got 80,000 hits already, people, so go for it, okay? If you want to know a quick way to remember this by song, go to youtube.com, type in Stickman, under search, type in Stickman Sings the Quadratic Formula, and I'll sing this to the tune of Frere Jacques for you, okay? But again, let me be honest. If a quadratic equation factors, this is the best way to do it, all right? Because if I take this to the quadratic formula, I'm going to be there a while. Okay, so it's better if you can work on your factoring skills. But again, if a quadratic equation doesn't factor, which it may not, you better know this formula as a backup. So go to youtube.com, search for Stick Man Sings the Quadratic Formula, and learn this by song. Okay, bye.